Today I'll be fixing some burnt out bulbs in the climate control center of this 2005 Toyota 4Runner to go from this to this. Now looking at this climate control center here in the dark, you can see that half of this LCD screen is not lit. And it looks like we do have a burnt out bulb here on this middle knob area, as well as a burnt out bulb right here on this button down here. And with all the lights back on, you can see a lot better where I was talking about. Of course, we saw that half of this LCD screen was burnt out, and it looked like this temperature button right here on this middle knob had a bulb that was burnt out. And I think the bulb is burnt out back here as well. So I'm going to take this entire panel out of here and replace every single bulb in here. I'm going to show you which bulbs you need and exactly how to do it. And I'm going to start by removing this negative cable off of the battery. And now I can begin the rather simple disassembly process. First, open this little container down here, and if we look up inside of here, right up here you should see a single Phillips head screw that you'll need to remove. Mine is missing. And you can remove this little compartment if you want to, just by pulling up on it. I'm not sure you actually need to remove that. So after that single screw is removed, you can reach up behind the panel right here, two hands, and just quickly give it a couple pulls like that. Okay, there we go. Okay, our panel is now removed. Let's turn it over and look at the back. Well, taking a look at the back here, we have one wiring loom we're gonna have to disconnect. It's got a single tab right there. Let's press that in. And being careful with the front of this thing, I'm gonna try to pull this plug out of here. There we go, pretty easy. The climate control panel is now completely removed and released from the car. Let's take it to the bench and work on the lights. Okay, here on the bench, we can get a better look at this climate control center. Let's flip it over. So looking at the back, I can see each one of these bulb locations. It looks like we have two on the bottom here. We have one over here in this knob area with all the different buttons, but the middle knob, we have two, and that's because this is a limited version with dual climate control. If you don't have the limited version with dual climate control, you should see just one bulb here in this middle knob. And on this side, we also have one single bulb. Now up top here, for the LCD, we have two bulbs. One of these is burnt out, which we saw. We also have another tiny little bulb up here in the corner for the buttons. Now here's the thing. We probably only have 3 bulbs that are burnt out. However, I'm not exactly sure if these bulbs have ever been changed or if these are original from the factory back in 2005. And so therefore, if I have 3 bulbs burnt out, I can assume that the rest are on their way as well. So my plan for today is to replace every single one of these bulbs with Toyota factory bulbs. That's right, these bulbs are straight from the dealership, genuine Toyota bulbs. Okay, now here's all the part numbers you're gonna need. I have 2 of these 09019, which are for these 2 bottom buttons. You can see they are a green body bulb. For the 09018, I have 1 of those, and I believe that bulb goes right here, right where these buttons are here. And I have 2 of these 09017 bulbs, and I believe these go right here to the LCD. And then I have 2 of these 09016, which are these 2 black-bodied bulbs in this middle knob. And interestingly, I said earlier I wasn't sure if any of these bulbs had ever been swapped out, but you can see this one definitely has. It definitely has some marks on the back of it there. I'm pretty sure that's not from the factory, especially since if you look at the correct bulb here, the back looks totally different. So I know at some point someone tried to switch this bulb out with the incorrect bulb. And lastly, this part number here, 09015. I actually have 3 of them in this bag, but I'm only gonna need 2 of them. And those bulbs go on these 2 outer knob areas. You can see there's one on this side and one on this side. So the first ones I'm gonna work on are the 2 in the top here for the LCD screen. I'm just gonna use a flathead screwdriver and very lightly turn it lefty-loosey. Same thing with this one. Okay, so it's just about an 1/8 turn. And to get them out, I just have a little piece of tape here. There we go. There's one of them right there. There we go. Okay, the tape does seem to work pretty good. We have our new bulb here stuck to the tape, which is exactly the same as the old bulb. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in there. I'm trying not to touch the glass on these. I don't know if it really matters, but I've heard that it shortens the life on an incandescent bulb. So, you know, to each their own. I'm just not gonna touch the glass. That's why I'm using this tape. There's one, and here's the other bulb we're gonna put in. And that's 2. That one worked out quite well. They just kind of fall into place, and then it's that same 1/8 turn. So there you can see the two brand new bulbs in place. Next we have this tiny black bodied bulb here. This one is for those buttons right next to the LCD panel. Again, a very tight fit, so I'm going to go ahead and use my tape here. There we go. Interestingly, when you look at these bulbs, some of these have like a green cover over the actual glass. I don't know if that helps that orange color to shine through, but that's definitely there for a reason because multiple bulbs have this green cover. I have the new bulb here on my tape. I'm going to go ahead and drop it into place. Just try not to break it. There we go. Yep, I had to press a little bit harder on that one with the screwdriver, pressing down so that I could twist it all the way. You can see that there's a little kind of negative sign for a flathead screwdriver that lines up with the markings on the black plastic here. So that one is fully installed. Okay, the three top bulbs here are done. I'm moving on to the center section here, which are the three knobs. I'll go ahead and start on this side. We have a gray bodied bulb. Very thin opening for these bulbs, so this little screwdriver is actually too thick to stick in that hole, so I'm going to find a smaller one. That doesn't even fit in there either. Well, it does if I force it, I guess. Yep, that works. Okay. And that actually helps me to pull this thing out. And there you can see what bulb this is. This is a gray body. It's a longer bulb, and it also has that green kind of cap over the glass there. You can see the same gray bodied bulb with the green cap. I'll set this old one aside. And you can see just how thin that opening is there, but it actually does look to be a little bit thicker than the one that I took out because this screwdriver fits in there rather nicely. And we'll drop this in place. And twist it, and that one is good to go. Now since this one over here is the same bulb, I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. You can see this original bulb actually has a thinner opening there, so my screwdriver kind of has to be pressed in there in order to be able to unscrew that. Grab one of the new ones, and I'll go ahead and drop it into place. And twist and lock. And that one is done. And now I'll move on to the center knob here. I think for this one, I'm going to use this thicker flathead. Definitely going to need the tape on that one. All right, we got this bulb out, and here's what that factory bulb looks like. Very, very small. And I have the new one on this tape here, which I will drop into place. Okay, it just fell into place. Now I'll give it that little turn to lock it in. Okay, now I need to take out this other incorrect bulb that was over here, which could have been why, I think, is this the side that wasn't working? Kind of jammed in there, which isn't good. Well, this is why you always want to use the correct part. Now this bulb is kind of jammed in there, and I'm going to have to try to figure out how to get it out. All right, I got the bulb out, and it just took a little bit of time and patience. I basically had to use this extremely small flathead screwdriver, kind of like for your sunglasses or whatever. You can see this bulb was mangled, but let me show you the side here. The sides of this bulb are mangled as well, meaning that whoever replaced this literally jammed this thing in there. It's probably why it wasn't working in the first place. Now I'll take this correct bulb and drop it into place. We should be good to go. Okay, it just fell into place there. Let's give it a little turn. Yeah. Cool. All right, we now have the correct bulb in both of these. Now, last but not least, we have these two green-bodied bulbs. So just like that gray-bodied bulb, we have a longer body with the green cap on the end. All right, I just removed that old bulb, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop the new bulb into place. There we go. And this one does have that marking on the black plastic that shows a vertical orientation there, which is interesting because this one on this side shows a horizontal orientation. See if I can remove this one up close. So just press in a little bit, give it a twist, and that just pulls right out. You can see that old bulb. I'll set it aside so I don't mix them up. And you can see what I'm talking about there with the markings on the black plastic there. This one on this bulb we just installed shows a vertical orientation, whereas this one shows horizontal. I'm assuming that's what that is. So I'll go ahead and drop this new bulb into place. Turn it a little bit till it falls in there. There we go. Now you can see it fell kind of deeper into the slot there. You definitely have to apply a little bit of pressure in there and turn it. There you go. You can feel when it clicks into place. At this point, every one of the bulbs has now been replaced. Let's reinstall. Well, before I reinstall this panel, I'm going to take note of these 4 pink tabs here. This is what I need to secure back in. However, the first thing I need to do is re-plug the single plug here. Okay, and now I'll line up my 2 top tabs, my 2 bottom tabs, and I'll go ahead and push the top. I'll push the bottom. And then you would, of course, have the single screw that's down here missing on mine, but yours will probably have it. And now in order to check my work, I'm going to reinstall the negative battery cable. All right, I'll go ahead and stick the key in the ignition. And look at that. We can already see that LCD screen is fully lit. And let me flip on the lights. And we can see everything else is fully lit as well. This bottommost left button here that we thought was burnt out was indeed burnt out. And both of these lights now for this middle knob are working, so everything is lit. Everything is lit all the way around, and that LCD screen looks beautiful. And I would definitely recommend just replacing every single one of these bulbs. If you have a few of them that are burnt out, it most likely means that other ones are about to burn out as well. You can always keep your old bulbs as backups in case one of the new bulbs burns out, but we do know that incandescent bulbs tend to fade over time. So not only are all of these bulbs working, they are brand new and most likely putting off more light than the old bulbs were. Well, I do hope you enjoyed the process of replacing these bulbs for the climate control center in this 2005 Toyota 4Runner. It's actually a pretty cool design. This whole panel comes right out. It's very simple. The bulbs are easy to get to. I really appreciated that. Now I will note, I went to autoparts.toyota.com to find the bulbs. I found them at my local Toyota dealership and each bulb was about $4.95. So that gives you an idea of just how much this job is going to cost, but hopefully because these are genuine parts and they're all brand new, they won't be burning out anytime soon. Well, that's it. Again, if you enjoyed this one, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up. I'm Jimmy for One Road and I will see you in the next one. Well, Ferris, this is it. It's a little rough around the edges.